Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. We've got some absolutely massive news breaking right now that you don't want to miss, especially if you or someone you know relies on SASSA grants in South Africa. This just came in, and it's going to have a big impact on millions of families across the country. We're talking about something that doesn't happen often, and when it does, you better believe it's a game changer. That's right, SASSA has just announced a double payment for June 2025. Yes, you heard that right, a double payment. If you're watching this video, grab a cup of tea, sit down, and stick with us until the end, because we're going to break down exactly who qualifies for this double payment, when it's going to hit bank accounts, what caused the surprise announcement, and what you need to do right now to make sure you get your share of the money. There's a lot of excitement, but also a lot of confusion going around, so we're here to clear it all up and give you the real deal in plain, simple language that makes sense. So let's start with the biggest question that everyone is asking: why is there a double SASSA payment happening in June 2025? According to official sources from SASSA and the Department of Social Development, this decision was made after months of internal budget reviews, political discussions, and growing pressure from civil society organizations and community leaders who have been advocating for increased support amidst ongoing economic challenges. In the wake of rising food prices, escalating energy bills, and continued unemployment, especially among youth and vulnerable populations, the government has decided to take a bold step in providing additional financial relief to SASSA grant beneficiaries. This is part of a broader economic relief initiative aimed at cushioning low-income households from the effects of inflation and helping them cover essential expenses. Now, you may be wondering, does this mean everyone who receives a SASSA grant is getting double the money in June? Well, not exactly. The double payment isn't going to every single grant recipient across all categories. Here's how it's going to work. According to the breakdown provided by SASSA officials, the double payment will apply specifically to the following grants: the Old Age Pension Grant, the Disability Grant, the Child Support Grant, and the SRDR 370 Grant, also known as the Social Relief of Distress Grant. These are the categories that have been prioritized due to the high levels of dependency and financial need among their beneficiaries. If you're receiving any of these grants, you're in luck. June 2025 is going to bring a little more breathing room financially. But hold on, there's a bit more to the story, so don't click away just yet. Let's dive into the actual numbers. For old age pensioners, the usual monthly payment is R2,180 for those under 75 and R2,200 for those over 75. So with the double payment, that means qualifying pensioners could receive as much as R4,400 in June. That's a significant chunk of change and can make a real difference when it comes to buying food, paying bills, or even covering medical expenses. For people receiving the disability grant, which is also currently set at R2,180, the same double amount applies, so we're looking at R4,360 coming their way. Parents receiving the child support grant will also see their payment double from R530 to R1,060 per child, and those receiving the SRD grant will see a jump from R370 to R740. This isn't just great news, it's urgent news, and timing is critical here. Let's talk about when the payments are going to be made. SASSA has already released a preliminary payment schedule, and the double payments are expected to start rolling out from Monday, June 3 RD, 2025. Payments will be staggered over the first 2 weeks of the month to reduce strain on the system and to prevent overcrowding at paypoints, ATMs, and retailers. So if you normally get your grant on the first Monday of the month, don't panic if it doesn't show up right away. The second part of your double payment will be processed within 48 hours of the first, depending on the grant type and your method of collection. Direct bank deposits will be the fastest, while cash send services and PayPoint pickups might take a bit longer. One key point that a lot of people are asking about is whether you need to reapply or fill out any new forms to get the double payment. And the answer to that is no, you do not. If you're already an active SASSA grant recipient and your details are up to date in the system, you'll automatically receive the double payment. There is no need to re-register or visit any SASSA office unless your banking details have changed or your grant has been suspended or placed on hold for any reason. However, if you recently updated your information or submitted documents for review, you should double-check your status online using the SASSA website or contact their toll-free number just to be safe. Now let's address a very important part of this announcement, the reason behind it. While the government has framed this as part of an ongoing economic relief strategy, many believe it's also linked to growing political pressure ahead of upcoming local elections. Whether you see it as a politically motivated move or a genuine effort to help those in need, the bottom line is this: money is coming, and it's coming soon. Analysts say this double payment could inject billions of rands into the economy at a time when consumer spending has slowed dramatically. That's good news not just for beneficiaries, but also for small businesses, shops, and service providers who depend on community spending to survive. Of course, with any announcement like this, there's always a flood of misinformation online. We've seen fake WhatsApp messages, scam emails, and even fraudulent phone calls targeting SASSA beneficiaries. Let me say this loud and clear: do not give your ID number, bank details, or PIN to anyone claiming to help you get your double payment. SASSA will never ask for this information over the phone or via social media. Stick to official SASSA channels for updates, and if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Report any suspicious activity to the authorities immediately. And while we're talking about security, let's also touch on some safety tips. If you collect your grant in cash or from a PayPoint, try to go with a family member or friend and avoid collecting during peak hours. Criminals often target elderly and vulnerable people on grant days, so stay alert and don't let your guard down. If you receive your money via direct deposit, make sure your bank account is secure and avoid withdrawing the entire amount in one go unless necessary. Now, another major question being asked in the community is whether this double payment is a one-time thing, or if we can expect it again in the future. At this point, officials are calling it a once-off relief measure for June 2025. However, depending on the public's response, economic indicators, and the success of this rollout, there's a possibility it could be repeated later in the year. Some insiders say that if inflation continues to rise and joblessness remains high, we might see another boost during the December holidays, but nothing has been confirmed yet. Still, it's a sign that the government is paying attention to the needs of its most vulnerable citizens, and that's a step in the right direction. Let's take a moment to talk about how this decision is being received across the country. On the ground, the news has been met with a mix of relief and cautious optimism. Many grant recipients say they've been struggling to stretch their monthly payments, and this boost couldn't have come at a better time. In rural areas and informal settlements, where unemployment and food insecurity are highest, community leaders have praised the move as a lifeline. On social media, hashtags like #SASSA and June Relief are already trending, with users sharing tips on how to budget their extra funds wisely. But there's also a fair amount of skepticism. Some people are asking why more isn't being done, why the SRD grant hasn't been made permanent, and why the increase isn't happening every month. These are valid questions, and they speak to the ongoing debate about the future of social welfare in South Africa. In terms of long-term planning, this double payment could spark bigger conversations about grant reform. Experts are saying this moment could be used as a test case to examine the impact of increased support on poverty, hunger, and household stability. If the results are positive, it might strengthen the case for increasing grant amounts permanently or introducing a universal basic income model in the future. That would be a game changer for millions of South Africans. But for now, the focus is on making sure June's double payment gets to the right people without delays, glitches, or corruption. And just before we wrap up, let me give you a few practical steps you can take right now to make sure you're ready for this payment. First, check your SASSA status online or via SMS to confirm that your grant is active and your details are current. Second, if you've changed banks or moved recently, update your information immediately through the SASSA website or in person at your nearest office. Third, plan ahead for how you'll use the money, whether it's to pay off debts, buy groceries in bulk, invest in household needs, or save a portion for emergencies. And finally, help spread the word. Tell your family, your neighbors, your community leaders. A lot of people still haven't heard about this yet, and your sharing could help someone in desperate need avoid missing out. So there you have it, just announced. A double SASSA payment is coming in June 2025 for millions of South Africans. It's real, it's confirmed, and it's going to make a huge impact. We'll keep tracking all the latest updates and bring you news the moment it drops, so make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on. You don't want to miss a single update. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is a good move? Should the double payment become permanent? What will you use your extra funds for? We want to hear from you. Until next time, stay informed, stay safe, and take care of one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.